Hello, beautiful, wonderful amigos. Hola, amigos maravillosos y hermosos. Bienvenidos a la clase de español. Welcome to Spanish 1, 8th grade. I'm looking forward to having a great time with you. So let's get right to work. This week, of course, as we begin our hybrid model of doing some work at home and some work in the building for most of you, I'd like you to first watch this video. Second, there's a short survey I would like you to take and submit right away. That's due on Monday of this week. So Monday, September 14th, maybe, if I'm getting my dates right. Yeah, the 14th. So right away, watch this video today and take the survey on Monday, September 14th. How to find documents for your classroom and in Google Drive, in our Google Classroom. So when you go to Google Classroom, not our room, but when you go to your Google Classroom page where you see icons, rectangles for all of your classes, when you look at the one for Spanish, you'll see in the lower right corner of that icon a file icon, and that will take you to all the documents that we'll be using all year. Alternately, you can go into the Spanish classroom to the classwork section, and at the right you'll see class drive folder. It's the same place. That's where your documents for this week and all year, where they will be stored. Okay, so your work for this week. Other than what I just said of watch this video on Monday and take that survey on Monday, you'll recall that we're going to have work spread out through the week. It's going to be, meaningful work, not just play around work like it was at some points last spring, but work that is intended to advance the curriculum. You'll certainly be being asked to do some learning on your own as well as in the classroom, because it's only 2 days a week in the classroom, where we're trying to replace the material of 5 days a week in the classroom. So you will be expected to do work at home, including teaching yourself some new things. We're going to pre-teach things all year here via screencasts like this, and then use them in the classroom. So when you arrive at the classroom, we'll expect that you have seen these videos and that you've done what we call pre-teaching or pre-learning before you come into the classroom. So in addition to what I just said of watch this video and the survey, also this week I'd like you to read a welcome letter that is there for you in our class drive folder that describes what we'll be doing this year, and to join and participate in Quizlet. So we already have a set of flashcards up on Quizlet. You probably all know Quizlet from other experiences in school, or you can contact me and we'll figure it out and get you whatever you need to know to make that work for you. I'd like everybody to do at least 30 minutes on Quizlet this week. When you look at Quizlet, you'll see different activities. They have names like Gravity and Flashcards and Learn and Match. I'd like you to do 10 different activities in at least 3 categories that add up to at least a total of 30 minutes, self-paced whenever you want to throughout the week. That's part of your hybrid remote work to complement your classroom work. So what I mean by 10 activities in at least 3 categories, so you might do the Gravity activity 3 times, the Learn activity once, the Match activity 4 times, that was 8, and the test activity twice, for example, or whatever. So you had a total of 10 activities, and they were spread between at least 3 different categories of activities. You did a total of 10 things spread between at least 3 activity categories. So that's for your work for this week. At the end of the week, there'll be a quiz on Quizlet due by Friday night. That's not up there yet as of this time. On Tuesday, a second video, a second screencast like this one will be released or put here on Google Classroom. The intention is that Cohort B will watch that on Tuesday, Cohort A on Wednesday. That's kind of pre-teaching the next thing after what we're doing today. And then throughout the later part of the week, you'll continue on Quizlet. There's going to be a writing activity for the relatively small number of students who are remote only. I've provided a special writing activity for you to take up some of the slack from what you would be missing from being in the classroom. That will be on there. And then you'll do your Friday night Quizlet quiz that is not yet published, as I said. So that's some introductory material. A little bit of a learning curve and adjustment for all of us. I'm an avid emailer. You can always email me, wthomas@prsd.org, or contact me via Google Classroom. I check both of them all the time, and I think I'm very prompt in answering all inquiries like that. As we get the thing going, there will be some office hours on Mondays. That's not quite set up yet for this first week, but there will be. And at any rate, you contact me and I will make sure that we do whatever it takes to meet your need and get you able to do your work. Okay, so that brings us to comments on what I'll call handout number 1, which was already given out at orientation. So the pattern for the year is going to be that I'm going to do teaching like this and commenting in English here in these remote sessions and screencasts. And then we're going to basically have the classroom be all in Spanish. The classroom will be practically exclusively Spanish all the time, and we'll do all our talking of English here during these remote learning sessions, pre-teaching and so forth. By the end of the week, there'll be 3 handouts. One was given out at orientation, handout number 1. That's the one that talks about things like, what's your name? My name is, pleased to meet you. Let me introduce you to, how are you? And bye. Handout number 2, I'm also going to introduce in this screencast, and then it will be given out in class this week. It's already online. And then in the Tuesday screencast, the second screencast of the week, I'll introduce handout number 3, and so on. So comments on handout number 1. I wanted to make some comments here online in English so that we can then stay in Spanish in the classroom. Sí, sí. So you can find handout number 1. Maybe you have it because I gave it to you in class the other day, or maybe you want to pause this video and go get it, print it, or have it on hand from the class drive folder that I mentioned how to find. So let's look down this list. Buenos dias. That's a written accent mark on the I, not a dot. It's a little slash. Not all I's have them, but when a Spanish word needs an accent mark and it's over an I, instead of dotting it and accenting it, they replace the dot with an accent. Buenas tardes. Buenas noches. Hola. H is always silent in Spanish except in a CH combination. Then we get to ¿Cómo te llamas tú? So some notes for that is that, yes, my love, I'm making a recording and I'm sure my students love seeing you dash through. It's okay.
So, hey everybody, I have a grenade. Let's play grenade.
That's nice.
Grenade. I'm gonna light it up now.
Really? No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Should I?
It's going to blow.
It's just a grenade.
You have to hurry, though, because I want to get back to my recording. If you're going to blow it up, you have to be fast. Pull the pin. All right. I got to get back to work. What was I talking about? Okay. Double L in Spanish pronounced like an English Y. So, ¿Cómo te llamas? Llamas. A single L is pronounced like an English L. We'll see some examples down this list, but the double L like an English Y. On this sheet, the words in parentheses are optional. You can make the sentence with or without them for reasons we'll explain maybe some other day. So either ¿Cómo te llamas? Or ¿Cómo te llamas tú? Both are correct. The next line, Yo me llamo Bill or Me llamo Bill, both are correct. And by the way, those questions aren't a literal, what's your name and my name is. Those are a literal, how do you call yourself? And I call myself Bill. Yo me llamo Bill is not, my name is Bill. Yo me llamo Bill is I call myself is the me Bill. Got all that? You can watch this over and over. Then we have encantado, enchanted, like enchanted to meet you, We don't say that in English. I translated it as delighted. The parentheses A means that in the Spanish language, many things are gendered. So a guy will say encantado, but a girl would say encantada, ending in A. Encantado, male version, encantada, female version. There's some more later down on this sheet. Es un placer. Mucho gusto. Igualmente, some people have a trouble pronouncing that. Bienvenido. Or a lady would say or you would say to a lady, bienvenida. So it's not who's saying it, it's who is the adjective applied to. I say to Fred, bienvenido, but I say to Mary, bienvenida, ending in A. Then we have, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué pasa? Notice those upside down question marks. They make it so Spanish. And then nada, nothing, as a possible response to what's up, what's happening. Then we have ¿Cómo estás tú? The tú is optional. And then estoy means I am. So most of these you could use with or without the estoy. So for example, most of the time you could say how someone says, how are you doing? You could say excellent, or I'm excellent. You could say bad, or I'm bad. So the estoy is the I am part. So we have estoy bien, muy bien, very well, mal, muy mal, regular. Oh, don't forget to trill that R. It makes it so Spanish. Regular, that outrageous trill that makes it so Spanish. Spanish R trills when it's the first letter of a word, when it's a double R, and under certain other circumstances. We have así. It's a literal so-so. Excelente. Estoy cansado, or a lady would say estoy cansada. Estoy enfermo. Estoy contento. A Spanish J is like an English strong H, so estoy enojado, not enojado. And estoy triste, sad. We have y tú, and you. We have hasta luego, hasta mañana. Oh, you see that squiggle on the first N? That is so Spanish. It gives it an NY sound like in English canyon. It gives it the nyeh, 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 nyeh sound. So hasta mañana without the squiggle on the first end would be hasta manana. The song, I love it when you call me señorita. Without the squiggle, it would be, I love it when you call me señorita. Oh my goodness, it just wouldn't be the same. The piñata would be a pinata. Do you like pina coladas? If it had no squiggle. Oh, anyway, the squiggle only happens over N's. It is not all N's, it's some N's, and it turns it from an N sound into an NY sound like in English canyon. Then we have hasta la vista, made famous by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Some of you know what I mean, some of you don't. That's okay. Nos vemos, ciao, adios. See the written accent on the O, but if it happens to be on an I, they skip the dot and put the accent instead, as I mentioned earlier. Por favor, gracias, muchas gracias, de nada, thank you, I'm sorry, you're welcome. That's like a literal, it's nothing. There's nothing for you to thank me for. It was nothing, is the idea. Then we have lo siento, yo también, señor, señora, señorita. Without their squiggles would be señor, señora, señorita, sí, and no. So those are some brief comments on your vocab list. Your handout number 1 is what I will be calling it. It can be found in your class drive folder. Go to classwork, see your class drive folder up in the right, or as I said, when you're looking at all of your classes, it's the folder icon in the lower right of the Spanish class one. So that's some introductory welcome comments, and that's some comments on handout number 1. Our next mission is to pre-teach handout number 2. None of you have received it yet. It is online, but I'm going to make some pre-teaching comments on it right now so that when you arrive at class, we will be immediately using it without explaining it. It's pretty simple, and there's really only 4 lines on it that I think of as tested material, if you want to call it that. It's talking about where people are from and the Spanish-speaking countries. So you might want to pause this and look at handout number 2, or print it out of your class drive folder, and I'll be giving them out in person in class this week. So handout number 2, talking about where people are from. There's 4 lines of vocabulary that we'll be using all the time. We have de donde eres tú? That's a from where are you? And that 2 word in parentheses, as I said in the previous handout, it means the word is optional. You can make the sentence with or without it. De donde eres tú is where you're from. The Spanish word order is from where are you? Then we have yo soy de place. Yo soy de place. The yo is optional. I am from place. So yo soy de Mexico, for example. I am from Mexico. The 3rd line is de donde es person, like de donde es Fred, from where is Fred? And the 4th line is name es de place, like Fred es de Mexico, Fred is from Mexico. And there's some notes there in the middle of the page that you can read about some of the grammar and understanding a little bit better what those sentences are about grammatically for those of you who wish to. So in 1492, that's right, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. And who did he work for? The King and Queen of Spain, of course. He'd been going around to Europe looking for somebody to finance his ideas that I can arrive at the east by sailing west and get there easier, cheaper, faster, and avoid getting attacked by bandits and caravans and the Middle East and all that kind of stuff that they used to have to deal with back then. So this famous Spanish king and queen, who in English are called Ferdinand and Isabella, paid for Columbus's trip of discovery to the New World. When they figured out that it was indeed a new world and not India, that's why Columbus called the people Indians, because he thought he was in India. It took about 10 years for them to figure out this is not India. This is not the East. This is a new world that us Europeans didn't know was there. And then in a short period of time, by the 1520s, Spain has, with great violence and a tragic story for the indigenous or native peoples, conquered huge portions of area in the New World and created a very large colonial empire in the New World that made up the Caribbean basin, large portions of South America, Central America, and the Spanish Empire at that time also included other bits of real estate around the world, the Philippines and the Far East, a number of places in North Africa and West Africa were Spanish colonies back in the day. Spain had a huge colonial empire from we'll call it the early 1500s to the early 1800s, 300 years of being one of the most politically, militarily, economically important countries in the world. Spain was a rich, powerful country in those days. And that empire mostly unwinds in the 1820s with very little left after that. And that is why today there are about 20 countries on your list that are Spanish-speaking countries, because Spain, they used to be colonies of Spain, in the same way that this part of the world used to be a colony of Great Britain or England, which is why we speak English. You speak English, but you're not English. In that same way, someone who speaks Spanish, it doesn't mean they're Spanish. They're Spanish if they're from the country of Spain in Europe, but if you speak Spanish, you also could be Mexican or Cuban or Colombian or from any of these other countries. Let's pronounce them on your list. Now, when we get together in class, don't tell me you're from Merrimack, Groveland, West Newbury. We all know that. How boring. Tell me you're from one of these countries, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it in class. You'll see how we use it. Their Spanish pronunciations are Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica. Oh, listen to that trill. That is so Spanish. Panama, Cuba, República Dominicana. I love that trill. Puerto Rico. Oh, no, another trill. It is so Spanish. Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, Paraguay, Uruguay, Argentina. G in front of an E or an I is pronounced like a strong H, so it's Argentina. Guinea Equatorial. Equatorial Guinea is a former Spanish colony on the coast of West Africa. España is Spain. And Estados Unidos. I put it on your list. It's not a Spanish-speaking country, although there are a large number of Spanish speakers there. Does anyone think they know what Estados Unidos is? That's right. It's the States United. The States United? Yes. The States United, because Spanish descriptive adjectives usually follow the noun. So if you look at this list, you'll see Costa Rica, coast, like the coast of the sea, coast rich. Puerto Rico, Puerto means port. Puerto Rico, port rich, rich port, we would say in English. República Dominicana, Republic Dominican, we would say the other way around in English. Equatorial Guinea, Guinea Equatorial in Spanish, and States United in Spanish, because Spanish descriptive adjectives usually follow the noun. In Spanish, you're not a nice boy, you're a boy nice. So you see, it makes it so Spanish. Okay, I'm sure there are going to be bumps to work out in this hybrid model. I'm sure there are things that I left out of the screencast. On the other hand, I have mercy, and I know that you don't want to watch a 30-minute screencast. So this is screencast number 1 of Unit 1. I'm hoping that you're watching it on Monday, September 14th. On Tuesday for Cohort B, I'm going to put out a second screencast pre-teaching another thing after the countries that we just talked about. The next screencast for Cohort B on Tuesday and Cohort A on Wednesday, we'll pre-teach some common classroom phrases and objects like, can you give me a pencil in Spanish? Okay, in that case, it's time to say, hasta luego, ciao, adios, hasta la bye-bye. No, that's not Spanish. Hasta la vista, baby.